Here we are again. Here we are again with What is in a Name. My name is Lisa Starr Francis, and this series is about the letters in our name. And we are familiar with the letters in our name, and we are familiar perhaps with numerology, and we might know about that way of that numerology reveals certain things. And so I am doing a What is in Your Name series based on your name code, which is something that is came through me through the Oracle, the Word Oracle, and the name code, like numerology, it exists in agreement with the idea that our name is decided by us at a soul level. So, in the premise that our name is picked out at a soul level and all that that implies, okay, so that implies you can believe that your name in some way has been pre picked by you. And in your name, like in numerology, your name, the letters of your name, would explain certain things. So this explains certain things through the letters in your name that you got at birth. So we deal with the birth name when we're looking at the name code, sort of as astrology deals with the birth time and birthplace. This is dealing with the name given at birth. Okay, so now that's out of the way. What I'm doing in the What is in Your Name series is I'm simply showing up with one of the letters, and I am sharing what that letter is about. So every letter has its own attributes, and the attributes are about the gifts that our soul intended to have and use in this life to have a fully on purpose life experience, to live out whatever it was that their soul desires. So the soul desire was this, and these were the matching things that made this work. So this is the name, and these are the attributes. So when we look at it that way, that's the overview that we're having about the name code. So each letter has its own attributes, and each letter actually has 4 attributes. There are 4 R's, there are 4 A's, all the way through the deck. There are 4 different color categories, and therefore covering all these different aspects of ourselves. So these 4 cards cover the aspects. The names of them reveal things about the aspects. So I share the name, and I'm sharing the aspect, and I'm sharing that this is something you chose. And that's why the letter is in your name, so that architecture exists in you. So one thing I want us to understand is that the gift, the quality, the attribute, whatever word you prefer for it, the attribute is in us. It can't be taken from us. We have it. It's either our life has allowed us to fully let it come out and be fully blossomed, like a seed. We had the seed idea and we grew up, and some of them got to be blossomed and we're using them. And some of them might have got shut down because someone said something to us, or life presented a difficult situation and we shut it down. All kind of things can shut down our gift, but that doesn't take it away. It just lays dormant. It's still there. The attribute is still ours. So as I describe the attributes for today's letter, which is the letter R. So if your name begins with the letter R, or you have R in your name at birth, your birth name, then you can listen to this and reflect on what I'm saying, and you'll be able to know whether that gift, that attribute, that you're working it, or that it is laying dormant. And if it's laying dormant, you can bring it back to life because it never goes away. So all the gifts can be activated. And even just knowing the difference between what makes it active, meaning we're doing it, or what makes it meaning we laid it down for some reason and we're not using it, um, just knowing the difference can allow us, when we catch ourselves not using it, it can allow us to put it into practice. So it's quite revealing. So here we go. These are the 4R cards, and I'm going to start with this first one. And this card calls itself My Reflection Reveals My Perfection. Okay, so the attribute for this shows up for some, and these would be the ones that have the R has blossomed. Okay, this shows up as a natural ease in how this person sees themselves. So if you're an R and you have an easy way of seeing yourself, if you have R in your birth name and you have that ease, then that attribute is obviously one that you have opened. And these R people are going to recognize their own presence without needing to adjust it for for anything. They don't need to adjust it. So that is how it is for a blossomed R in this particular attribute that comes with My Reflection Reveals My Perfection. Okay, and for others where they have the R and it's not fully active, it may be laying dormant for those people. Those R people might think it might feel harder for them to look at themselves without critique. They might look in the mirror and see a lot of things wrong. So if you're an R person and you have a hard time, like you can't help but criticize yourself at times, then that's showing you that the R quality is just dormant, and you actually do have in you the natural ease quality. That is yours. It is your attribute. You just have not been using it. Okay, so if you're an R, you might feel like it's harder to look at yourself again without critique, and there might be a tendency for this type of R to focus on what seems off instead of what seems on. Okay, so that's the first R attribute. The second one you can check with is from this card, which calls itself The Language of Universal Love is My Mother Tongue. What a name. The language of universal love is my mother tongue. So for those R's so you've got the R is your first letter, or it's in your birth name, somewhere in your birth name, or you may have multiple R's. This attribute that comes with the R is going to show up for those who are fully blossoming their R. There's going to be a real softness in how these people speak and how they relate. They are very easy, and they carry a lot of care in the words that they use, both inward and outward. So those are people, like, they're very intentional with their words. That's very intentional, loving. They're lovingly intentional with their words, in them and in the outer to themselves and to all of life. That would be the R quality here, the R attribute, the R gift. That is it in its full blossom. For those who are not blossomed for whatever reason, they might show up as people who feel easier to speak from habit or tension. They're able to speak when it's tense. They can blurt stuff out when there's a tension moment. They can speak out of habit and, not necessarily with that care. that when it's blossomed, speaking with care, right? And so this R could be have a sharpness in tone without noticing it themselves. Okay, so this is an R quality. If you have an R in your name, then this is something for you to notice. Because, again, as I said, these attributes are in us, whether we are using them or whether they're dormant, or whether we use them sometimes and sometimes they're dormant. Either way, when we know what it looks like when it's ballooned and what it looks like when it's not, it gives us a mental choice when we notice ourselves, if we have that R and we notice we're speaking from habit, or we don't even notice the sharpness in our tone, for instance. We can begin to just notice that and bring ourselves back to what is our natural gift, the gift that exists in us. The attribute we actually have is to carry words with care. That's an attribute we actually have if we have the R. So we not have to go try to get it. We don't have to try to make it up. It exists in us. We just have to allow it to blossom through knowing it's there, and we can change the way that we're perceiving things. All right, let's get to the third one. This is the third attribute for the R, and this is the card that calls itself Why Ignore? Instead, explore the depths of your being. Indeed, the name of the card is Why Ignore? Instead, explore the depths of your being. So, the attribute that this card represents shows up for some with the R as a willingness to look deeper into what they carry. These people are very willing to look at themselves, at what they're carrying. If this gift is open, they're very willing to meet their inner world with curiosity. Like they're willing to do it with curiosity. And that is what it's like when the R is in this, for some, that it really shows up. It's really, they really are willing to do that deeper work. So they might be people that sign up for the really deep workshops and stuff like that. But if you're an R, you'll know if that is true for you. For other R's that it is not fully blossomed, where it's laying dormant, those are people may feel like it's easier to stay on the surface of things, and they may hesitate to go further within. So again, these things just allow us to see where the gift is laying dormant, where the gift is open, and if the gift is dormant, that attribute still exists and we can actually have it be activated. I help people activate it through using the name code. I do a name code. It's the only private service I kind of offer, where I do a one-on-one kind of thing. So I work with people's names and I help people with their name code. But again, just knowing what the qualities are of each of these letters and being aware of what the qualities are for yourself, it's easier to notice when you're you're not using the quality, and you can actually begin to activate it for yourself. I like to say you don't need me to do it. I will do it, but you don't need me. You can just notice the qualities and begin to notice when you're not activating it, and then activate it just by saying, oh, it's in me. I can do this. And you can say to yourself any number of things to begin to get yourself to pay attention and activate these things in another way for yourself. All right, we're always our own best one, but we all like to think that having help is good. I go for help too, and it's good to go for help, and you're welcome to come for my help with the name code. I'm not turning you away. I'm just telling you, this isn't about me selling you the name code. This is about me informing you as an R person that this is how you can notice what attributes that you came in with. The letters in the alphabet are the architecture of our soul experience, of our whole purpose, is wrapped up in the name that we got, and we can use these attributes to fully have our purpose. And we were meant to, but life has a way of lifing us, and then we have different ones that go dormant for different reasons. But the good news is they are still there, and they can be taken from the dormant place they are and reactivated, and easily at that. Okay, so here we are at the fourth attribute for the letter R. And this card is called Surprise. Faith feels fabulous. And so this card shows up as, for some R's, as having a natural trust in how life unfolds. These people just can be in that natural trust, and they move with a sense that things are working. They're just those people. They're just moving through life like it's working. And that's how these R's appear. So if you're an R and that's what's happening for you, you have that attribute is active. If you're an R and it feels more like this, where like you might be uncertain, life could feel uncertain and unpredictable. Like even if, like, let's say you have a regular job and a regular paycheck, and you don't have any kind of, you know, you're not living like in an unpredictable way that way. Like, let's just say you have a regular job, you have a regular paycheck. Even in a regular life where everything is sort of really okay, you can still feel uncertain and that life is unpredictable. If that is you as an R, that just shows you that you're dormant. Okay, you're showing up dormant with that quality. Okay, that means you haven't got it fully going. And also, you could focus on what might go wrong. So if you're an R and you focus on what goes wrong, that means that you're letting this attribute be dormant, because in you actually came with the architecture in your name. It exists. The natural trust in how life unfolds. You actually came here with that sense that things are working. That is your gift right now. It is your attribute right now, and you can turn that back on just by knowing you have it. And if you want further, you want to integrate this in a much bigger way, you can certainly come to me for your name code, and I'd be happy and delighted to serve you in that way. So this is for all the R's. I hope that today's revelation around the R and the attributes associated with it, I hope that was revealing for you personally, held you some truth that you can work with. And you can find me at my website. You can message me, you can leave me a comment, and you can watch all of the letters that I've done thus far on my YouTube channel, where they are all going to be. When all 26 of them are done, they will be there. They're not all done because I only recently started this series called What is in a Name? And today's was letter R. Tomorrow will be letter S, followed by letter L. Take it easy and see you then.